Hello friend, welcome to my kitchen. I have a lot of things to get done today and I thought it would be fun for us to do them together. I have some veggies to wash and prep, some grains to cook in the Instant Pot. So grab your apron, let's get started. Today we actually have a lot of veggies to get through. We have some sweet potato, a lot of celery, a couple heads of broccoli, green onion, some beets, mini cucumbers, bell peppers, mint, 3 blocks of tofu, and some white rice and quinoa. Okay, it does kind of look like a lot here, and actually when I was looking over my to-do list, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed because this is a little bit later in the day than I usually like to start a prep. But what I always tell myself is just take it one step at a time and see how many things you can get done in an hour. If I feel really tired after an hour, I can always call it quits, and at least I'll probably have some veggies washed and chopped, which is still gonna help me out a lot. So we're just gonna focus on the important things first and see how much we can get done. I'm gonna start with the sweet potatoes because they will take the longest in the oven. And I'm also gonna roast a couple bell peppers in there as well, because if I already have the oven on, might as well roast 2 things at once. I'm just starting by preheating the oven to 400 degrees, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rinse off these sweet potatoes. If you like to eat the sweet potato skin, go ahead and scrub them really well. I usually just peel the skins off, so I'm just giving mine a quick rinse and then adding them to a parchment lined baking tray. Of course, cut off any bad pieces if you see them. And I like to poke a little hole into each of my sweet potatoes just to make sure they don't explode in the oven, which yes, that is a real thing. And same with the bell peppers, just a tiny little hole in them to let the steam escape. Once your oven is hot, go ahead and pop those in. And I'm setting the timer for 20 minutes first because I'm going to rotate the bell peppers at that time. And then with the beets, we're just giving them a quick rinse as well. Pro tip for your Instant Pot, if you want it to come up to pressure faster, you can actually use boiling water. So I've just gone ahead and boiled some water here, and I'm gonna pour it into my Instant Pot liner, which has my beets in it, and that will just help speed up the process of it coming to pressure. Now beets I like to steam for around 15 or 16 minutes depending on the size. If they're a little bit bigger, I might do 16 or 17 or 18 minutes. To be honest, it doesn't really matter with beets because you can eat them raw, so really you're just cooking them for your desired texture. I actually really like raw beets as well, but grating raw beets is such a mess, and I find that this is the cleaner option, so usually I just steam them. And just like that, we already have 3 things crossed off our list. I'm feeling great. Let's go ahead and get these veggies washed. I find it easiest if I am washing a lot of veggies just to fill up the sink, and we can wash everything all together at once. And my herbs I like to keep separate, so I have the mint in this tiny wash basin, and I'm adding the green onion in there as well, just so they don't get lost with the larger veggies. The veggies have been washed. Basically all we need to do is chop them, and it's not very many of them actually, other than the celery. I had a lot of celery. I was going to juice it. I still might juice it, but it had just been sitting there for a couple weeks. It needed to be at least washed and chopped. So at least we have that done. It's only been about 20 minutes, so I'm feeling pretty good on time. It's pretty amazing how much you can get done in 20 minutes. It always seems like the task is gonna be much larger, and then when you get it done, you're like, hey, that wasn't so bad. So let's get all of these chopped. We can get something else going in the Instant Pot as soon as those beets are done, and we also need to get the tofu into the oven as soon as the sweet potatoes are done. Since there is so much celery, I'm going to chop most of it into bite-sized snacking pieces, and these could also be used in the juicer if I do want to juice them later. Pro tip for your celery, keep it submerged in water, which you can see I've filled this Tupperware all the way up with water, and that will just help keep your celery nice and crisp. I'm also going to chop some of this celery into smaller pieces. This will be perfect for soups and stir fries. And I'll also fill this container with water as well. After about 30 to 35 minutes, the bell peppers should be finished. So I'm just taking those out, and we're gonna place a plate on top of this bowl, and that is gonna help the bell peppers steam, which will help loosen the skins as we're going to remove the skins later. So we can just set that aside until they're ready. Okay, the Instant Pot beeped about 10 minutes ago, so it has been coming down from pressure naturally, but we need to take the beets out so we can get some quinoa rice combo going in there. And I believe the sweet potatoes are almost done as well, which means tofu can go in, so I need to prep that first. The reason I add the tofu after the sweet potatoes are finished is because the sweet potatoes bake at 400, the tofu bakes at 350, and I think 400 is a little too hot for the tofu. What you could actually do is just bake everything at 350. The sweet potatoes will take a little bit longer that way, like maybe an hour, maybe even an hour and 15 minutes, but it's definitely an option if you wanted to bake everything together. I just prefer to do it this way because I can get those sweet potatoes and the bell peppers in right away, whereas the tofu, I'm gonna have to prepare it a little bit. So by the time it's ready to go in, the sweet potatoes are usually done. Now that our beets are done steaming, we will just set those aside to cool. We're gonna do a half-half combo for the grain today. I'm using half white rice and half quinoa. I kind of realized that they cook for about the same amount of time and use the same water to grain ratio. So I experimented with it one time and it worked really well. And my husband much prefers to eat white rice. So I thought that if I can just add the quinoa right in there, he won't really notice as much. And he hasn't, he said it's fine. So we're going to do 2 cups each of rice and quinoa. And I'm actually just gonna wash the rice first because the quinoa is pre-washed. The one that I buy from Costco, we don't need to rinse it. So I'm just gonna rinse this off first. I like to rinse rice at least 3 times, and then we'll add 2 more cups of quinoa on top of that. So just add your quinoa directly on top of your rinsed rice, and then go ahead and add in fresh water. I'm using 4 cups of water in total to match the 4 cups of combined grain. And just quickly pulling these sweet potatoes out as I heard the timer go off. I still use the rice setting even though there's quinoa in here, and every time it has come out perfectly. All you need to do is press the rice button and you're set. And now thank you, Instant Pot. Now I need to get that tofu started because the sweet potatoes have just come out. Ooh, okay, hot. So let's get the tofu done and into the oven. So we're just gonna set these sweet potatoes aside and let them cool down further, and change out this parchment paper for my reusable silicone mats, which are best used at 350. That's why I don't use them with the sweet potatoes. For the tofu, I'm gonna use a recipe from It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken for her chorizo tofu crumble, except I'm not gonna crumble the tofu, I'm just gonna cube it, but I'm using all the same seasonings, well, pretty much the same. I also like to alter recipes as I make them a few times. I kind of find what our taste preferences are, so I just alter it as I go a little bit. But I'll leave all my modifications and the original recipe in the description box. Now, pro tip for your tofu here, these tofus were previously frozen, and look at how much water you can get out just by freezing and then defrosting your tofu. So you can just go ahead and wring out the water with your hands. If you have found you don't really like the texture of tofu, you might want to try this freezing and then defrosting method because it really helps draw out that extra water, which then of course gets replaced with the flavors of your marinade or seasonings. So for today's tofu, I'm just using some dried coriander, black pepper, oregano, garlic powder, smoked paprika, chili powder, smoked maple sea salt, apple cider vinegar, tamari, or you can use soy sauce, and water. And then go ahead and toss that gently to coat all the pieces. And lately I've been using a bit of cornstarch on here. I do find that it just helps crisp up the tofu a little bit better. Okay, the tofu is in the oven and it's time for a little mid-prep drink, maybe a little snack too. I actually chilled this Italian blood orange soda that I got from Trader Joe's. If you saw my haul, you probably saw this in there. I don't drink soda often, so I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but when I was shopping, this looked really tasty, and it's been a little while in this prep kitchen we need a quick break. And we're gonna use a fancy cup. These are cute little stemless wine glasses that I actually got from Value Village. They were such a good bargain. I couldn't believe it when I found them there, and they were a really good price too, of course. Value Village is a thrift shop, so I love these. I don't really drink much wine anymore, so I like to have my evening beverages in there, like chilled hibiscus tea, iced coffee, chilled lemongrass tea is really nice. Even chilled mint tea is really good. So I actually have a summer drink video. It's almost feeling like summer. It was really, really warm today. Oh my gosh, it's so sweet. Oh, that is so tasty. I could mix it with some hibiscus that I have in the fridge. Hold on. This one I brewed yesterday or the day before, and you can even mix it in. I like to mix it with lemonade. I think that this will be a really good combo though. Oh my gosh, it's perfection. These two together, yes, so good. This is gonna carry me through the rest of this prep perfectly. Now we just have the last of our veggies to chop. I'm starting with the broccoli so that I can get it steaming on the stovetop. And I love to eat the stalk. I think that it is perfectly delicious. Let me know in the comments if you also eat the stalks of your broccoli. So one thing that I do like to do is make sure the stalks go on the bottom because they are a little bit tougher. So if they're closer to the boiling water as they're steaming, they'll cook just slightly more than the rest of the broccoli, which is nice since they're a little bit tougher. And the bell pepper I'm just cutting into bite-sized pieces, and it's going in the same box with some celery, which will be kind of like a snack box, which is perfect for when you're making dinner and you just need a little snack or something to tide you over. You can grab this box and you have a perfect little snack pack. Cucumber is great for snacking as well, so I'm just cutting each piece into quarters. And the green onion, sometimes I will leave it whole, but since I usually use it chopped into tiny pieces like this, I do find that if it's chopped and ready to go, I'm much more likely to use it. So I just line one of my Tupperwares with paper towel, or you can also use a tea towel. And having the onion just ready to add into any dish like this makes it so convenient. And same with the mint, I want it grab and go ready to add into any salad without any extra prep work. And finally, our tofu is ready as well, and it smells amazing. That tofu is very tasty. Okay, we are almost finished. It is the home stretch. I only have two things left to do. I have to peel the skins off of the bell peppers. Actually, the skins off of two things, the bell peppers and the beets. So that will be really simple, and then we will be done. The rice and quinoa has finished, the tofu has finished. Basically, all of our veggies are done, and I'm ready for this prep to be done as well. Does anyone else get that little like pain from the indentation from wearing a headband too long? Is it just me? Anyway, let's finish this prep. So I just like to cut the tops and bottoms off each of the beets. And you do need to be a bit careful when peeling these as they are a little bit slippery, but the skins should peel off really, really easily. It is much easier to deal with them once they're cooked like this. So sometimes you can even just peel off the skin with your fingers if you prefer. And then I just like to slice mine in half or in quarters. And it does get a little bit messy. So what I like to do as soon as I'm finished is just go ahead and give everything a rinse. Even this white veggie peeler is easy to clean if you just rinse it right away with hot water. And then also just give your knife and your cutting board a quick rinse, and that way you won't have any beet stains. For the bell peppers, we just want to drain out any extra liquid that has accumulated inside, and then their skins should also peel off really easily, and you can even just tear them into bite-sized pieces or slice them, and of course just discard the seeds, stems, and skins. I think the best part of finishing a meal prep has to be looking at everything that you have accomplished for the day, and B, that first time you sit down and you know that for the rest of the day you can just relax. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you got a meal prep done today as well, give yourselves a huge pat on the back and go relax, go do something fun. I'll see you guys next time.